A creator I know recently went super viral on TikTok after posting consistently every single day for months. He literally woke up to the dream of every creator. Thousands of people flooding his funnel. But there was one problem that is about to turn his dream into a nightmare. None of those people were actually his. Because while the attention is pouring in and everything looks fine, he had no real way to contact all of those people outside of TikTok. And by the time he realized how dangerous it was already too late. And the next few times he tried to replicate and go viral again, TikTok just blocked his account and he lost everything. And just like that, everything disappeared. One day you're on top of the world, the next day you lose everything and you have to start from zero. And at that moment he realized something lots of coaches figure out way too late. If you don't own your audience, you don't actually have a business. And stories like that are not a rare occasion. You hear about people that are getting blocked on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok every single day. It happens left and right. So, what would you do if you would be next? And I know it sounds strange because we've all been taught that followers equals growth, but followers are not ownership, they're just rented attention. Because at the end of the day, the platform is the one that will be deciding who sees your content, when they see it, and will your account survive till the end of the day. And that's why I think many creators are building their businesses backwards. They're learning a lot about how to get attention, but they're not focusing on how to keep that attention. So this really comes down to rented attention versus owned attention. Rented attention is social media. Platforms that you are relying on the permission of the algorithm to reach the people that you want to reach consistently, right? You post and you hope they will see that. And the reality is most of your followers will probably never see it because industry averages shows us that only 4% out of our existing audience is getting exposed to our content because social media right now is not optimized for connection, it optimized for attention and retention. Their goal is to keep people scrolling more, watching more, interacting more, coming back to the platform more often, and that means the algorithm is optimized to show the stuff that is most engaging at the moment and not necessarily the people and businesses that they intentionally chose to follow. But honestly, the shift is not just happening at a platform level, it happens on the human level as well. Because 5 years ago, when people would open up Instagram, they would just check on their families, check on their friends, on the creator that they chose to follow. Because back then, the relationship between the creator and the audience was way warmer. Today, when we open up Instagram, we immediately enter consumption mode. We scroll, we swipe, we consume, and just move on. And most of the times, the creators we see are people that we've never heard about before. Which means creators now have to overcome two barriers that are outside of their control just to get seen. First one is relying on the person deliberately opening the app and deciding to scroll their feed. And secondly, relying on the platform's algorithm to decide if your content is deserved to be seen today. Which is why follower count has become a very misleading metric, especially when it can just disappear any second. The opposite of that, it's owned attention. It's when somebody voluntarily enters your ecosystem, your email list, your community, or your customer base. Now, the relationship no longer depends on the algorithm because they gave you permission legally and psychologically to reach them out directly whenever you want. And what's really important here is the behavior shift. On social media, people scroll, compare, and endlessly consume. But when they decide to join your list intentionally, they're choosing to hear from you again and again. And that is a completely different level of trust. Because now you're no longer fighting for attention, you've been invited to it, and that is changing everything. The way people consume your content, the way people trust your ideas, the way people buy, and overall the way people remember you. Because trust is built way differently when people deliberately and repeatedly decide and want to hear from you over a long period of time rather than just randomly stumbling across you on social media. And what's really interesting about it is the people who actually opt in are usually your highest quality audience. They consume more, they watch longer, and they just buy way more consistently. Which means the signals that you're getting become way more stronger from that specific audience. You start to understand what they care about, what they resonate with, and actually what type of content attracts more people just like them. Now, instead of building around random attention, you start building around intentional attention. And the more intentional your audience is, the easier it becomes to attract more of them. And this is where something I call the intent loop comes into play. But a second before I break it down, one of the biggest mistakes coaches are making is assuming they have to start from scratch, even though they have some sort of a list going on. A lot of people already have an audience, already have subscribers, already have some people sitting in their old dead list. They just don't know how to turn that attention into an actual ecosystem that builds trust and generates revenue, which is actually inside our free Skool community. One of the things that I help coaches do is to take an existing audience or a dead email list, clean it up properly, rebuild engagement, and run a sales promotion and monetize it in 30 days. So if you have an existing audience and you're not really sure and you haven't figured out how to monetize it yet using your email list, I left the exact 30-day plan in the pinned comment below, so go check it out. See you in the group. Anyway, back to the intent loop. This is exactly how it works. People discover you through content: YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, ads. The right people then intentionally opt into your world, and the moment somebody joins your ecosystem, you can consistently reach them directly. Over time, trust starts compounding. They read your emails, watch more of your content, understand your philosophy, and trust your expertise. And those people become your highest intent audience. They engage more, watch longer, and buy faster, which gives you significantly clearer audience signals about them, which allows you to understand who they are and what type of content attracts more people just like them, which allows you to create more intentional content and get discovered by even more right fit people. And that's the intent loop. Not just building attention, but building owned attention that compounds over time. But this loop works only when three things are aligned, and those are the three layers of owned attention. Starting from the most obvious to almost invisible. The right people, the right invitation, and the right expectations. First layer, the right people. The intent now rewards specificity. Because the more you deeply understand the people you're trying to attract, demographically, emotionally, financially, psychologically, the easier it becomes to create content that feels directly meant for them. Second layer is the right invitation. Most people are trying to attract using something either nobody wants, like, hey, join my free newsletter, or they're attracting the wrong or a very broad audience saying something, hey, join and I'll help you with finances. You want something that solves a clear and a very specific problem for your audience. Because the moment somebody joins your list, they subconsciously create expectations about who you are, what you believe, and what kind of value they're going to receive from you over time. And this is where a lot of creators unintentionally break trust. Because your list is not a place to just consume content and disappear. It's a relationship. People need clarity around what they're joining, what kind of emails you will be sending, and even how often they should be expecting emails from you. Because trust compounds when expectations consistently met over time. And honestly, I think it matters way more now because AI made information abundant. Everyone can create content, everyone can sound smart, which is why trust is the real differentiator. And trust is something that is very hard to build on platforms that are built around distractions. That's why I believe social media should be used for discovery and not for dependency, because the goal is not to trap people on platforms you don't own. The goal is to move the right people into an ecosystem you actually control. So if you're building a business right now, don't just focus on getting more views. Focus on building ownership. Because virality can disappear overnight. Algorithm could be changed overnight and platforms can get deleted overnight. But an audience that trusts you and you can directly reach compounds for years. And honestly, that is one of the biggest shifts I think creators should focus on right now. So if this video gave some different perspective, let me know in the comments below. I would love to talk to you about it. And if you still haven't sent your first email and you know how important and essential it is, in the next video I'm gonna break down the 3 main problems why creators are delaying the day of sending the first email and overcoming them so you can start after watching that. So click somewhere on the screen and go watch it next.